Dave, get locked in, and let's go.
Well, we're still working out the bugs. We're getting there. We're getting there. We got our anthem, our intro abbreviated. I love it. It's perfect. But a couple hiccups, but that's how we learn. Anyhow, hey, Dave DeRocher here. Walter is running a little bit late, as you guys know. He started coaching with his wife, coaching women's softball at the high school that he works at. So he's going to be hopping in here in about I don't know 5-10 minutes. But this week we are joined by Uchenna, and Uchenna was on the show preseason, and so we're gonna bring him in, and we're gonna start just talking some Seahawk football a little bit. Hey, there he is. How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's up, Dave? How you doing?
Doing good. So I don't know if you remember, but when we were kind of kicking some things off, you hopped on the show and you were doing your camp. I think at that time your camp and your bowling event,
hmm
and golf tournament.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you just came out of the gate. You didn't say, "Well, I'm just going to do one thing." It was like golf tournament. Next day was bowling, and then the third day was at the camp.
yep. So it was the golf tournament, and then it was the bowling, and then the camp,
Yeah, and
all in that
and I
order.
mean all those kids running around, and we had Greg Townsend show up, one of the Raider greats, and
Yep,
you had a couple of guys there. Um, uh, uh, Kasim Osgood.
yep. Kasim Osgood played for the Chargers.
Yep.
Yep.
And
hmm
how do you know Kasim?
I know him actually through my foundation manager, Wade. They grew up together.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
he's an Aztec. He's an Aztec.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah. But I'm a lot older. But so hey, first time out, man. All those were a great success. You had a great turnout at all of them,
Great
and
turnout.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit of Seahawk football. It's getting better.
Yeah.
What are your guys' what's the locker room thoughts about how that's going?
I mean, locker room's positive, man. Now everybody's positive right now. Everybody's, we're not. I wouldn't say we're relaxed, but we're just hungry. We see what we're building here as a team, and we just want to go out there and prove it every single week that we're the real deal. And we're a force to be taken seriously, and guys are hungry to go out there and perform, and vibes are good right now in the locker room.
Yeah, and it started off a little rough, right? Well, actually, started off pretty good, but then it got a little rough. And the
hmm
rankings, the defensive ranking, everyone looks at, where everything's falling into place. But now, the last 5 games or 4 games, it's like number one, number two, number. I mean, we're hitting on all cylinders on defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. And we knew it was going to be a process. Mike's a very smart coach. His defense is requires a lot. There's a lot of different things going on, a lot of moving parts. But once you get a feel for it, it's pretty much all the same thing. Once you get a feel for it, you can hit the ground rolling, and guys starting to get more comfortable in the system, and it shows how fast guys are playing, the plays guys are making out there, and so we're just gonna keep believing, keep trusting in Mike, and keep it rolling.
Yeah, well, it's certainly you can certainly see it's working on the field. It's fun to watch. Big cat run for what 80 yards.
What was that?
The big cat running for 80 yards with the interception.
Yeah, 92
I,
yards.
and he was trucking.
Yeah, he was moving out there, man. He hit his top speed, I think. He hit his top speed that week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but he looked smooth.
Yeah, Big Cat, man. He's been making a lot of plays these last two games. He's on a tear right now out there making history.
Yeah.
So shout out to, Pete for trading for him, last year and the last season, and then, he's a big part of this team, big part of this defense, and he's only getting better. So we're gonna need
Yeah.
him down the stretch.
No, that was a big move, and you could see at least me just watching. You can see his energy level.
Yeah.
It's gone up tremendously. It's like he's having a great time. It's like he's rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Do you think some of that is with the youth of the team? Do you think because a lot of the younger guys there are kind of rallying around him and getting him excited about the game?
Yeah, it's absolutely a part of that. I'm sure he's feeding off all the energy that's out there on the field, guys making plays. And it's just, just a testament to the amount of hard work that he's put in. I'm sure he had a great offseason. He came in ready to ball. Again, it's also one of his former teams, so that might have sparked a little something there as well. So
Right.
so it's all it could be anything. But Leo, he's putting the work. Knowing him, he works hard every day out there on the practice field. He's always giving his all, always staying positive, being a good teammate. And it goes back into his play on the field. So
So now that's the defensive side of the ball. We know Coach Mike. That's what his forte was with the Ravens. Had them running around and a formidable defense for sure.
yep.
What about the offensive side of the ball? How are the guys doing over there?
The offense, they're getting proven. Every week they're getting better. Every week they're getting better. You can see it. Guys were you can see, especially in this last couple weeks. They've been coming off the rock hard. They've been practicing everything they've even been practicing. The guys are playing for one another. Gino's taking the command of that offense. He's getting guys involved. Jackson's been coming alive.
Oh,
Kenneth
for
K9's
sure.
still doing his thing. We, of course, like every other team, there's things to fix both offensively, defensively, and special teams wise. It's a full unit, it's a full group, and we all feed off each other. So we're just going to continue to get better as a team, and keep doing our part so the offense can feed off us, and vice versa.
Well, I'll tell you, unless you've played and unless you've been on the field, and when you have one of those facets that's struggling, like last week with the special teams, and it's real easy to start pointing fingers and doing those kind of things. But what you guys did, and that was rally around each other and persevered through that, because that was some adversity. I
Yeah,
mean, it was like it wasn't just one. It was like boom, 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 and then I didn't see. We watch a lot of football. You see a lot of sidelines, and they start yelling at each other, pointing at each other, but there wasn't any of that.
no.
It was like, hey, let's get it done.
Absolutely. The start of the game wasn't going our way. We had a couple of mishaps on teams, which is very rare because our special teams unit is actually top in the league. So we were like just kind of more confused. We wasn't really like, here we go. It was more like confused, like this isn't us. Like what's going on? So we went in and
Hmm.
we looked up. It's like 14-0, boom. Fast. And then we're down 21-7 at half, I think. And then at halftime we went in there, talked to each other, got it right. You know, made sure we knew what we came to do, which is take care of business. We talked in the locker room, went out there in the second half, and proved that we are the real football team. Didn't give up any second half points, and offense
Yep.
went down there and scored, and special teams did their part. So we knew what kind of team we were, and what was going on was uncharacteristic of us, especially the last few weeks we've been playing. So we got that corrected and came out there and finished.
Yeah, that's it. That's great to see. And so there's that one huge aspect of the offense that is so vital. We know our skills are, I mean, off the charts. I mean, K9 is amazing to watch. Unless you watch like every play, every move, how he keeps his balance, how he's able to make plays from nothing. When our offensive line gets it figured out, and they will, because they're young, and they haven't had any cohesiveness. They haven't played together. That takes a while
Yeah,
to develop. That's not just something just because they're all individually good players that you just automatically, it just happens. It just takes game after game situations, the adversity thing, pulling together and rallying around each other, but then knowing what the other guy's going to do, because it's such a dynamic position. You're relying upon each other, not just
yeah,
JSN going out and running a great route, right, and making a great catch. It's five guys working together to protect Gino, to make a hole for K9, and those things. Once that happens, and I like the way it's happening through the season, just like the defense is getting better through the season, in a time to make a great playoff run.
yeah,
And it starts this
absolutely.
week.
Another divisional matchup right here. This is going to be a playoff game again against these Cardinals. This is for number one in the division. We
Yep.
know that. We know what's at stake here. So this week of practice has got to be great. Preparation's got to be great. Focus has got to be great. Execution's got to be great. Everything's all levels has to be focused this week. If we want to be the team we want to be and we want to go where we want to go this week, divisional game on the road is going to be very important.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it was fun to watch. Because Murray's having a great season.
Yeah,
He's running all over the place. He's being Kyler. That's his deal, man. He just runs and makes plays. But we were able to corral him.
yeah,
So and I'm sure it's got to be the same game plan, right? Man, it worked. It worked once, but that is not an easy task.
Mm,
So it'll be interesting to see because he doesn't like getting hit, and we
mm,
were able to put hats on him, and I think
yeah,
that helped quite a bit.
absolutely.
I know I can't ask about how you're doing. I just want to tell you, you know what? We have so many folks that follow us, and everyone goes, "Oh, Uchenna, man, we love him," and everyone's hoping the best for you, But we can't ask about those things. I made that faux pas. We had Brady on. I asked about somebody's injury, and Walter yelled at me, and Brady goes, "I can't say nothing." So we won't talk about any of that stuff. But I do want to convey to you that, man, when people heard that you're going to be on the show, everyone's like, man, I wish him the best. Can't wait to see him on the field again. And we can't
Yeah.
say that. And so we're all hoping the best for you. Now, you have another event coming up. Now, I talked about your camps, so I don't want to skip over a couple of things you just did. You did a sneaker gala,
Yep.
and what was that for? What were you benefiting through that event?
Yeah, that was my first annual sneaker ball event. Pretty much, we invite a lot of people come in, dress nice. But the kick is that you throw on some fly sneakers. Something you really wouldn't. You only pull out the closet once on a special occasion. So a lot of people came through and enjoyed, and they dressed up and had nice shoes. It was really nice. But their overall mission has always been the same, which was to do for the youth. So the goal was to try to raise as much money as we can, to be able to give back to the youth in terms of like camps or different programs that I do throughout the year. So we were able to do that. We accomplished a good goal. There was no goal, but we were able to accomplish a lot. Had a good time, and yeah, the mission's always been the same, and that's what it will remain as.
So who was there a competition? Was there a contest? Who had the coolest kicks?
It would have been tough, man. I saw a lot of cool kicks out there. It could have really went to anybody, honestly. But I'll
Yeah.
probably say myself, if anybody. I'll probably give it to myself.
Of course, you can't win. Just like I can't win my golf tournament. Speaking of which,
Well, I knew
speaking
I
of
wasn't gonna win that, so I had to win the shoe game, shoe
which,
contest.
so how's your golf game? Because I know when you were getting ready to have yours, you and Wade were practicing. You went out and bought some new clubs.
I'm about to buy some new clubs. Actually, I don't like the ones I got. I need some new ones.
Well, hey, so hey, through the PA, we get discounts. So make sure
Really?
you find out about Callaway and all kinds of, yeah, we get deals.
Oh yeah, I need the
So
Callaways. I heard those are the top of the market.
yeah, those are good. But what's more important than the clubs?
The skill,
No, well, lessons. Yeah,
the lessons. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Get a couple of lessons in, but I was talking to Wade. I don't know if you know that he committed you to play in my tournament. It's gonna be in April. We do a lot with veterans, or at least I do a lot with the veterans, and my tournament we raise money for veteran support programs here in Orange County. And so that's going to be April 7th. So you'll be able to get through the season and rest a little bit, practice a little bit, and come out. And we've got I so there, we have a handful of guys I don't want to announce yet because they're still playing and I don't want to jinx it. But we get a lot of older guys like Greg Townsend will be there. Greg and Christian Okoye and Steve Burnline. So, a bunch of older guys. That 15 years in the league.
yeah,
We have four-time Super Bowl champ Jesse Sapolo is going to come play, and Byron Scott, Michael Cooper, Showtime Lakers. They show up, and so we have a nice mix of celebrities, and so you don't have to worry about playing good. People just love to hang out with you, and so I'm hoping that you can make it in April. Um, the other thing I wanted to bring up, and that actually a lot of folks bring up, is as much as they love you, they love your mom. Mom's, but that's awesome.
yeah, yeah,
And to see how she kind of gets involved with everything, you know, and
yeah.
obviously proud of you and what you're doing. Is what other than just being a mom, is she involved with the foundation and things like that?
Yeah, she's definitely heavily involved in the foundation. And every time there's an event, she tries to be there to support, make sure everything runs smoothly. People have questions about anything, how to get more information, how to donate anything, they always go through mom to figure that stuff out. So yeah, she's a great help. She's been there every step of the way. And um, yeah, I'm glad she's part of my foundation doing a great job. So
You know what? And I was thinking about all the swag you guys had, and I'm sitting here wearing the San Diego State shirt, and I should have had my Uchenna Foundation uh, polo shirt on.
I
Uh, well,
gotta get.
huh?
Probably gotta get you a bigger size than that one. The other one made you look too swole, man. You was over there looking too swole, man.
It is a little tight. Yeah, I might need a 3X next year.
I
So,
got you,
hey, Walter made it. So
Hey,
Walter.
now
hey, Joe.
you guys met last time you were on the show, so you guys know
Yeah,
each other. And I didn't want to ask too many questions about the defense and things, and then because that's Walter's specialty, and I'd love to hear you guys talk about the not the transition, but maybe the differences with the Pete Carroll defense versus Coach Mike, because you're trying to you went through that, right? And it'd be
Yeah,
interesting just to hear maybe some nuances and some things that you guys can articulate, because the people would love to hear about it.
yeah. Both defenses are really different.
yeah,
Um, yeah, Pete's defense was more of like a, I guess you say like a more of an attack type defense where you let players kind of get upfield a little more, be more penetrating. And I'll say Mike's defense for the D line at least, that's all I can speak for.
yeah,
Is more like playing blocks, staying square at the line of scrimmage, building a wall, and both defenses have their the goods. And so I've definitely enjoyed playing in both defenses. I was really successful in Pete's defense. 2022, I had my best season ever. So I'll always say that that defense is great. It was great for me. And this defense, I still have yet to play, but I'm hoping to get out there soon. But what I've seen, how guys have been playing on defense lately these last few weeks. I can just see how great it's been.
yeah.
We're taking the ball away at a high level. We're getting after the quarterback at a high level. And dudes are just being very disruptive. It's like a total defense. And I'm happy to see the way it's been going so far, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
And with the Pete's defense, and I don't know how it was on the back end of the year. I mean, it's primarily a 4-3 defense, right? And McDaniel's defense is coming in as it's running 3-4. So for like the fans, I mean, it's just different of personnel as well, right? Because
Yeah.
you're playing like instead of a true end in a 4-3, you're playing an outside linebacker type of position where they're asking you to be more in coverage. They're asking you also to run the passer. You have a little bit more job responsibilities, but then also just plays on your athleticism of where you kind of naturally fit.
In a sense, honestly, everything's the same, man. It's always just like minor tweaks here and there, but I dropped in the last defense as well. Pete's defense, I dropped in this defense. When it goes to four down, I become an end.
Yeah,
I did that in the same thing in Pete's defense, so it's all kind of similar. It's really all just depends on what the offensive does. What they do. If they come out in passing situations, I might go to an end,
yeah,
maybe, instead of being an outside backer. But it all depends. But yeah, you can still do both at any moment. You can play like base personnel to 11. You can play like, you know, four down to 12. You can do both in
yeah.
both defenses. So they're
Yeah,
both interchangeable.
I mean, it's just seeing the defense through the course of the season. I mean, we had solid days, had solid outings, but it seems like the defense is playing a little bit different now as we're getting into December and getting ready for playoff football. And I think it's peaking at the right time though, because everyone is playing more sound football. I know special teams wasn't the best performance because usually a lot of defensive players are playing on special teams. And so I know that was kind of a point of emphasis probably yesterday in the team meeting there and going into the week. But I think you guys are playing at a very high level, especially as we're gearing up playing championship playoff football right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
When
So
you set to come back?
What was that?
When you set to come back?
we
Hopefully
can't
soon, man.
yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, yeah, okay,
That's
yeah.
right. Hopefully soon.
So, hey, Chenna, so Kenny Burns is saying hello. You just give him a shout out. We're
Yeah.
ac-
Shout out Kenny.
yeah, we're gonna be heading out to Arizona. We're doing a takeover out there. I'm gonna be driving out with Anne Marie,
Nice.
and you met her at your events. We're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be going out to
Can you
Arizona,
guys
and
still
there's
see
gonna
me?
be a lot of folks there, and
It's
Can you
out
still
right
see
now.
me?
be able to cheer you guys on. The other thing is that Kenny, I think, put you on
Is that better?
blast on the news or something with your upcoming event. So we've been talking about your past events. You had the sneaker gala. What was it?
Yeah.
What you had another thing during the holidays too, didn't you?
Yeah, I have a coat drive, my second annual coat drive for Treehouse Foster Youth,
Nice.
December 17th, Tuesday. So just and then anybody you can sign up. Link is in my Instagram bio to sign up, or you can go to my foundation website page and sign up there. It's free. Just come through and just donate, any clothes that anybody has left over in the house that they're hoarding. The wife is yelling at the husband to get rid of, and the husband's yelling at the wife to get rid of. Just come and donate it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some kids out there that I wouldn't mind a nice coat for the winter time, so or some shoes that you guys aren't wearing. So
How do you get involved with the foster youth?
actually, we were just talk. I was talking with my foundation manager Wade, and we were just trying to figure out different ways to get involved in the community. And my foundation is really about youth, even if sports, not sports, any way youth. And so we're like, hey, let's try to get involved with the foster youth. They're the ones that are underprivileged the most. They're the one lack resources the most. So how can we get involved over there and find out what those kids need and try to give back that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Before I know you said you had to take off, Uchenna. Before you take off, I want to bring. We always have a 12 in, you know that, and our 12's been waiting in the wings. And I want to bring in Sherri, uh, and so she has a little bit of time with you. Maybe ask a few questions, and then we're also, Uchenna, we're going to be able to post out of the flyer that we're going to put up towards the end of the show, and let people know where to reach out, how to find out more about what you're doing. But hey, Sherri, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. I'm glad to be here. Um, I'm so happy to hear all the things that you're doing for kids. That's so important. That's one of the many reasons that I love being a 12 because we've got so many players who do so much for the community. And I'm so excited about everything you're doing. My friend Tyler Fryer was actually at your sneaker ball and told me it was fabulous. So
Awesome.
it's really awesome. I'm very excited and a little bit anxious to be here, as you can probably tell.
Mhm.
Um, but I heard you talk a little bit about the difference between Pete and Mike, and interestingly enough, I know that Mike got his start at the University of Georgia, which is actually where I'm a graduate from. So that was kind of exciting to me when he became the coach.
Yeah.
Um, and it looks to me, I'm not an expert, but I'm trying to learn more and more. And it looks to me like the defense and the offense, for that matter, are getting better and better. And just like everybody said, at the right time. Um, just wanted to see if there's anything specific. Um, what are kind of the major changes that you've seen since there's been a change in uh, from Pete to Mike?
Hmm, I'll probably say just like the culture a little bit. Pete was all about that. He was all about that, like having fun culture, like and making things like more player friendly, making things, those you guys heard about the shoot offs and all those different jokes he used to tell and all those things. And not to say Mike isn't like fun at all, because he's definitely a funny person. The more you get to know him, the more you talk to him, and he definitely makes the environment fun, and players are definitely enjoying, especially we're winning. So but Mike, I'll say Mike is more like, like let's do it. Let's take care of business now. Let's get going now. Like like more. I don't want to say sense of urgency, but more like no, let's not waste any time. Let's not waste any time. Let's do get things started right now. Let's get going now. And that's good. It's a good thing. It's resonating well with the players in the locker room, people around the building. It's working. So there's nothing bad to say about it. I love it. I appreciate hard nosed coaches. That's what I've had like my whole career. And so nothing but positive vibes. From Mike, and I love playing for Pete as well. I told you in 2022 season, that's when I had my best season. So everything Pete did, I loved it. It worked out for me as well. So both nothing positive to say about both those guys.
Well, I can't wait to see you back on the field. We've missed you for sure.
Yeah, I definitely miss playing.
Yeah.
It pains me just sitting on the sidelines coaching. I mean, might have to get into coaching after I'm done because I'll be finding myself coaching when I'm on the sideline. It's actually kind of stressful.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and you're trying. You just want to get out there and make a difference, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough. Hey,
But it also gives you a different perspective though too of kind of seeing how the guys are playing the scheme based off of the offense, what the offense is kind of throwing at you. I know you're right now because you're injured, so I know you're growing your knowledge of the game to a different level. Like you said, I mean, you're almost like you're a coach out there right now. So I mean, it's something that allows you to be a more of a effective, knowledgeable player once you get back though, for sure.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned JSN. I mean, he's having. I mean, just watch him develop. I mean, he's the go-to guy. He's back to back. Maybe is it back to back 100-yard games? But I know he's been just grabbing everything in sight. And is it also translating in the locker room? Is he really becoming like a team leader, or is he still kind of finding his footing there?
I would say he's definitely, more of a lead by example guy. Everybody see how hard he works and what he does on the field. But as far as vocally, he's still a young guy. He's still finding his footing there. We still got Tyler there, still got DK. So, of course he's still, soaking in information from those older guys and still learning as much as he can. Him just being his second year in the league. But yeah, definitely but his play on the field and how he practices and how hard he works is everybody notices that. So
Yeah.
he's definitely a leader more by example than I would say more vocal now.
That's very reminiscent of a guy I played with, and that's Steve Largent. He did his talking on the field. He did his talking in practice by the way he prepared, and it was even in his going into his 12th year when my rookie year and the second year. He would lay out he'd lay out for catch, for balls. He didn't have to do that. I mean, he's was going to be an obvious, Hall of Famer. But even in his last season, he was running specific routes. He was working and he was laying out for catches, and he took great pride in beating the young kids, and then the same thing on the field. But there was nothing rah about Steve Largent. He was just a solid teammate and performed and worked hard. We had some showboats. We had Brian Bosworth. We had some guys out there that were a little more showy, but Steve Largent certainly wasn't like that. So Sherri, how long have you been following the team?
Well, I would like to say since 1976, but that would not be the truth. I know the exact date. It was September 15th, 2013, when a friend of mine who was a pharmaceutical rep got tickets to the Seahawks 49ers game. And we were actually on like the 40-yard line, like the 10th row. First time I'd ever been in, Lumen Field, it was then CenturyLink. And the moment I walked into the place, and I've been to quite a few NFL games, and the moment I walked into the place, I was like, I can't even explain it. I just felt the spirit around me, just the atmosphere was just so strong, and it just pulled me in. And on that day, I became a 12, and I've followed them ever since.
So, Uchenna, you probably haven't done many stadiums, I mean, other than on the field. So, once you transition to what Sherri's talking about, and that is walking in as a fan and going and getting a seat and being with the 12s, is a completely different experience, and much like Sherri, I've been in a lot of stadiums and traveled around to a bunch of places, and there is nothing like the Seahawks fans in Seattle. Walter and I, we've been to SoFi here a couple of times, and there's more visiting fans than there are hometown fans for both the Rams and the Chargers. I've been it's a shame. I couldn't imagine playing.
Oh, trust me, I know. I played for the Chargers.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Man, every game felt like a road game at home. It was sad.
Yeah. Did you play in SoFi or did you play at the Galaxy or that soccer park?
The StubHub.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
How were the games at the StubHub right there?
I mean, it was whatever. I mean, every game, like I said, was a road game.
Yeah.
The field kind of sucked because we shared it with the soccer team, so they would kind of like beat it up. But it was cool. I was still a young guy. Huh?
It was a grass field or was it turf?
It was grass.
It was grass. Okay, yeah.
No, it's grass, but it's 30,000 people, I think.
If that, yeah.
There's no bad seats.
No, there aren't. Well, so San Diego State played there as well. So we were going out there watching, which made no sense to me. You got a college in San Diego driving up into LA to play, a full season And those poor kids, to your point, it was every game was an away game, and I think there's about 5,000 fans in the seats. You know, they tried busting the kids up. It was just a debacle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tough one.
But it was good. So Sherri, do you get a chance to see many games now that you're in the Carolinas?
I do, because I purchased a program just so I could make sure I would see all the Seattle games. So I see every single one of them that comes on.
But you don't get a chance to go to a game much.
I was at the Falcons game, which was a great game. We won that game, and I was very excited to go to that. And I also went when we played the Panthers. Unfortunately, we don't have them on the schedule this year. And I have been to 2 games in Seattle and hope to go to more.
Awesome. So now we've got Seahawker groups all over the country. Is there one in North Carolina?
There's one in Raleigh, and honestly, I have yet to be able to catch up with them to do something with them, but I'm hoping to do that in the near future.
Okay. Or start a new chapter. I think they're like 36 or 38 chapters. We have chapters in Czechoslovakia, Germany, Mexico,
Wow.
Nicaragua, I think.
So someone's from Mexico is from the chat right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we have, it's crazy. We have and they follow the show, and which is awesome. You know, so it's pretty cool. Hey, Pete, can you throw up Uchenna's flyer for his upcoming coat drive? Do we have that? And if not, I think we can post at least on Hot Talk 12 because we're on Hot Talk 12 YouTube, Hot Talk 12 Facebook, and Instagram. We'll make sure that we get your stuff up, Uchenna, and support you, you know, in everything that you're doing, because you're doing not only on the field, we want to see you on the field, but you do so many great things off the field, and you have a great heart. So, you know, we want to partner with you and do as much as we can to support you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Uchenna? Because he said he had to take off. Are you good on time?
I was actually supposed to take a call about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, you go for it. Yeah, got it.
If you got to go, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you coming. You know, and like I said, we're all praying for you and hoping the best. But you know, it's good to have you join us.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Walter. Thanks, Sherri.
Have a good one.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Right.
All right. So, Sherri, now we get to talk. We get to talk about the Cardinals game. You know, we have to be careful when we have current players on. I made the faux pas. We had Brady on a month or so ago, and I'm asking Brady. So, hey, Williams is hurt, and you know this guy's hurt. How are they doing? And Brady goes, bro, you can't ask me that. And Walter goes, Dave, you can't ask him that. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know. You know, I'm just used to just talking to people, but then I didn't think about, hey, this is media. This is out there, and we can't be talking about, you know, because all these gambling sites now and all this stuff and everything is hush hush, and we have to be very careful about, you know, guys divulging any information that the team doesn't want them to disseminate. So, you know,
Right.
now we can talk freely. Now we can talk about the upcoming game, and I'll tell you this last game scared me. This Jets game was a trap game all over it, you know, because we know the Cardinals are much better than anybody thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
And you know, we were able to crown them this first game, but coming up, you know, they're going to do something different.
Yeah.
What I'll ask Walt, what do you think? Because we were able to really get all over Kyler. We were able to corral him, get in his face, get him frustrated.
Oh yeah, the defense. It was the defensive line came up there and had a day. I mean, they contained him, condensed that pocket. You know, made him, because his strong suit is getting out the pocket. That's where he thrives out there. He's not the tallest player. You know, he's probably a little shorter than Russell was back there. But when Russell was able to get the pocket, I mean, he's one of the best passers in the NFL, given that visual, that opportunity. But I think the defensive line did a good job of closing that pocket in for him. It made it really tough for him to try to see the receivers downfield. And I think we need some more of that going into, you know, this weekend. I can see them having more game plan to try to get him out of the pocket, to try to give him, you know, more visual opportunity to be able to make some passes down the field and targets to some of those receivers that he had down there. I think we got to stop the run. Was not thrilled about how special teams played. I mean, you know, with 2-3 muff kicks out there is like unacceptable. Like it's
well,
that was,
I don't know, Walt, if you saw the news, but the part of the business, you know, the kid was released.
Oh yeah, I'm not even surprised about that. I mean, Pete would have probably had him on a different plane after the game. I mean, yeah,
Really?
I mean, it's about protecting the ball though. And when you get one, okay, you know, you're probably not going back there to return a kick. That's going to be a tough ask there. But then you do 2 in a game. That's that's uncalled for there at that point. So I mean, that's not surprising that they did release him. It's unfortunate. That's just the other side of the business there. Because again, it did give up 14 points, and that was a very pivotal aspect where we spotted them points. Defense was playing good outside of that, to where that was a difference of a win or a loss essentially. I mean, the more convincing when they came back and we earned that win, even be down by 14 points. But again, there was no need for us to put ourselves in that position though. Yeah.
Well, his defense has stepped up. So Sherri, as a fan,
I know how hard Pete is because I was returning punts my rookie year and I dropped one punt and I was never back there again. So I know. But I was also the nickel cornerback, so I was there. So I was fortunate in that capacity. Well, yeah, there's only so much wiggle room that you'll get back there, and so yeah.
So was there words, or was it even like you're out, or it's just next in line?
I think I might have finished the game. Maybe they might even put Golden Tate back there after that. Actually, it was against the Broncos. I remember. I just didn't close up the elbows on the punt, and it got right through there, and yeah.
Well, I will tell you what. Of all the things on that field, the one thing I would not want to do is catch a punt.
Oh yeah, those are
because at kickoff, you know, they're not in your face. That thing's sailing in the air and it's yards, and there's always time after receiving a kickoff, right? But that punt, those guys are like breathing on your neck while you're looking up.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to trust the corners that they're going to do their job or push them so far out to where you have enough time to be able to catch the ball. I think you because they also have to break down. You might get the odd ones where they're just running full speed. They don't see the fair catch. They're not breaking down. They're just firing out there. Those are the ones you got to watch out for sure. But then, I mean, you are kind of protected with the fair catch. Obviously, guys don't see the fair catch, and some guys still get hit, and that's the nature of the game. But the toughest aspect of it is more how the punt is flying in the air, and then the elements or the wind, because that ball is moving. So you have to put yourself in position to make sure you're get right underneath that ball. The trajectory of the ball on a kickoff just comes out different. It is affected by the wind, but it's not affected by the wind how a punt is, because a punt is coming down in a spiral as opposed to tail over end type of capacity there. So those are, if you in and out, you almost got to let it go, because I mean, you don't want to try to go for one you're reaching for because the wind pushes a little way, and now you got a muff punt. They get the ball back and they're going to score. It's better just let it hit the turf. Call your fire call, whatever your safety call is, and let them down and just get out of there for the next play.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad there weren't any cell phones back when I played, because our as offensive linemen, we would have a thing on the was it Saturday or Friday walkthrough. We would just get together and catch punts.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh no, it was we laughed at each other quite a bit, but I can assure you there would have been some things that I would have been trending for sure on TikTok.
Yeah.
And my daughter would have been embarrassed. It was because it looks so simple, but man, you sit underneath one of those things.
Pete sometimes he would have I've had to where he had some of the big guys go back there, and it could be the big guy catches this punt out of the jugs machines. We're off of practice early, 10 minutes, or we won't have team meetings or whatever the case is, and they'll get back there. Some of them have some good hand-eye coordination too.
Oh,
yeah,
was not me.
So hey, everyone sees the offensive linemen as you guys are just big brutes. You guys are huge human beings, but you guys are some of the most offense and defense, some of the most athletic players on the field, though. Even more athletic than your skill positions, though. You guys don't get enough credit, though, within football at all.
I agree.
Well, hey, Pete, did you capture that? Pete's our producer. Pete's been running these shorts out, and actually been getting some pretty good response. I don't realize how witty we are sometimes, Walt, because Pete's been capturing these really good things, and everyone's having fun with it. But I want that one. I want that. Offensive linemen are the most athletic sports people.
Left tackles get paid the big bucks for a reason. You're going against a guy that is as fast as a DB, running a 4.4, and he's weighing 280 pounds. I mean, and he's agile like a cat, and that's a tough job for somebody that's 6'4", 6'5", 320, having to block that guy.
Well, I was
in the back pedal.
In a back pedal.
Yeah.
I was 6'7", 365 at left tackle in Montreal.
Wow.
That wasn't good. That's not what you want your left tackle to be.
No.
No. And
as a run defender, for sure. As a run blocker, for sure. I want that size all day.
And I'm yelling at my quarterback, watch out. You never want to pick up your quarterback, his helmet sideways and his chin is bleeding, and you're like, sorry, bro.
That's funny.
Anyway, Sherri, I've been wanting to ask you this question. What do you think, as a fan, when you hear about, like a young man, like I don't know his name, it was number one that muffed the punts and the kicks, and that he got sent packing. You get home and the locker's cleaned out. How do you how does the fan look at that?
Well, I don't know if this is because the view of a fan or the view of a woman, but I get very emotionally attached to the players. And so it's always difficult for me when somebody leaves. But I do also recognize, and I have been encouraged to recognize, that it is a business and you have to make decisions based on what's good for the team. And, I try to appreciate that. It's still sad for me when people leave, especially if I bought their jersey. But if I can just be a fangirl for 1 second, Walt,
Please.
I just want to say it's so exciting to see you because you're part of the Legion of Boom. I mean, that is just, amazing to me that I'm on this podcast with you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. I am really hoping that there'll never be another Legion of Boom. There can't be. But I'm hoping that we will have the Hawk Havoc Squad. That's what I'm calling it.
The Havoc Squad. Okay.
The Havoc Squad.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
You better trademark that. You better trademark it now. You just put it out.
Okay. Yeah, it's difficult to watch people leave, but I understand. You have to do what's right for the team, and I support that. And whoever, people say things all the time about if we lose a game, if we win a game, they usually attribute it to one player, most likely the quarterback. I don't think that's fair. I support whoever our quarterback is. Russell Wilson actually went to college with my daughter at NC State, so she knows him personally. I was sad when he left, but I fully support Gino and whoever's in that role, whoever's in any position on the team, I support because I'm a 12 and they're a Seahawk.
So, but sometimes it's frustrating.
It is.
I love Gino.
Oh, yeah.
Gino does all this great stuff, and then all of a sudden, then he does something not so great. And I'm like, oh no, you're doing so good. Well, where did that come from? But then he comes back. The thing is, it's like water off a duck's back. It's just like one of those things, and and every player does it. But sometimes there's just certain players that seem like it's just in their DNA. And Gino for me just seems like that kind of a guy. You rally around him, he's moving the ball, he's doing great stuff, and then there's just that one play. You're like, what the heck? And then it's always at a bad time. It's like we're driving the ball, or we give them the ball at in a great field position right when we're making some momentum or some moves, and it'd be great if he didn't have those, because everything else is we're doing great.
To your point, Sherri, too, like it is tough seeing some of your friends get released at any moment during the season, whether it's through training camp. I've seen guys, we're flying to the East Coast for a game, and a guy gets cut that Saturday or Sunday morning before the game, and he's not even flying on the plane with us. And you kind of get there, and it's like you don't see him out there, and then you're asking around like we're going, and they let him go, and they're looking to bring someone in for the week because there's so much stuff going on behind the scenes to where if he was kind of a borderline player or a practice squad, they kind of let him go. Let him go, bring another guy up that we might be playing the Niners, and a guy that was on waivers, they pick him up for the Niners. That guy wants to spill his guts about how much he hates the Niners, and they do this on defense, they do this on offense or special teams, and that guy gets cut going into that Sunday as well. And so it's an interesting type of game that is played behind the scenes. It's kind of military strategy. You're trying to get as much information as possible to kind of give you an edge in some regard. And so but when you do see your friend who's out there and he's no longer there, like it's like, oh dang, it does hit you, and then you realize, okay, it is the business. There's a reasoning for it, for whatever the reason may be. I mean, hopefully he's not gonna. Hopefully he'll get picked back up within the season because I mean he is a specialist. He's a kickoff returner. He's a punt returner. So who knows what other team may have a need, for his skill set or even for at the receiver position. You just never know. I think he's a younger player, so I think he'll have another opportunity to get back into the league for sure.
Yeah, well, it's just Coach Mike setting a standard, right? We're not going to have that, and sometimes you got to make an example just to say this is what we expect.
What was the weather like that in New York? What was the weather like?
It was cold. It wasn't Buffalo cold. It wasn't snowing.
Like 20, 30 degrees. Because I mean, the one thing that's a common mistake for young players, or I mean, not necessarily young players, but like if you haven't really played in cold weather, once you let your hands get frozen, there's no way to get them back, and so it makes catching the ball almost impossible. So that could have been one of those, because dropping 2 kicks, that's kind of unheard. I mean, that's kind of an anomaly in a lot of sense, though. So I wonder if he let his hands get cold, maybe, and that first one popped out there and he thought he was good and didn't use a little better technique, and that second one got out of his hands as well.
Yeah, he just wasn't in a good position. So, and unfortunately, Sherri, Cedric, who's our guy out here in Carson, he trademarked the Havoc Squad. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'll have to think of something else.
Yeah. Well, but Sherri, this is recorded, so you actually came up with it, and he stole it. we know Cedric. We know.
I think we can find him. I know a bar he hangs out on Sundays. No.
Yeah, we're gonna go out there and hang out with him sometime. So it's funny. So this is my sick head, Walt. When you're talking about your buddy, getting released and everyone's taking off for the game, I saw a cat just standing on the tarmac with his suitcase, and the plane's taking off. And you're like, no, not you. You're not.
What are you doing? We got you a ticket over here on standby.
Yeah. No, that's your plane over there. You're going to Ohio.
Yeah.
You're going home. But that's how. But Sherri, if you don't know, that's how brutal and that's how bad it was actually back in the 80s when I was playing. Before all of the collective bargaining had protected the players and how many players a team could bring in, the Dallas Cowboys were ruthless with this. They actually would fly guys in, free agents in, and they had scouts. And the reason I know this to be true is because this happened to a couple of guys that I know personally. They had scouts in the airport, and they'd come off the plane and they look at them, and if they didn't pass the eyeball test, here's your ticket, go home.
Oh, return ticket. Huh?
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's like, you just think about that flight out there. Oh, I'm going to get a chance. I got my chance. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to prove myself.
And the thing that's crazy about that is like, it's just the eye test. So like, it's just purely on like, oh, he fits the mold to be this type of player. And like, that guy could be an actual player.
Yeah.
And a contributor. And like, I mean, if I got the eye test, I probably wouldn't even made it. I don't know.
Well, so, I say this all the time for offensive linemen. The best offensive linemen have the ugliest bodies. They're all lower body. They're all like hips and legs and butt. They don't necessarily have like really big upper bodies. I was top heavy. I mean, I was like just stupid big, but it really made it tough for me, especially on the end, and try and keep up with those guys. And for offensive linemen, I used to coach them. I love the ugly bodies, the scrappy bodies, because they're the ones that had better leverage, center of gravity, you know, and I think did better playing against defensive linemen. But
Interesting. Yeah.
Sherri, your favorite position on the team, or who's your? Let's do this. Who's your favorite Hawk?
That's hard.
All time. What's your favorite all time?
It's got to be Cam Chancellor.
Wow. Hey, that's not a bad choice there.
Yeah.
That's a good pull.
Or Marshawn Lynch. I'm a big Marshawn.
Another great one.
Yeah.
There's just too many. I love them all.
I mean, a lot of great players have come out of Seattle as well. You know, it's either start their career on mid, back into their career. I mean, yeah, Seattle's had some good players pass through the state of Washington.
Yeah, but aside from beast mode, Marshawn's got that whole personality that you just can't help but love, man.
Yeah.
You know, he's always doing something nutty and something fun, and just you can just tell he's just enjoying life. You know, and he's just Marshawn. No matter where he goes, and he makes people smile, kind of like a Charles Barkley. You know, you never know what's going to come out of his mouth, but it's always going to be funny. You know,
Right.
and it's always going to have good intentions.
And authentic. It's just he's authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also love Bobby Wagner. There's just too many. There's too many people.
Hall of Famer Bobby Wagner, who just broke. I think he has 13 consecutive 100 tackle seasons in a row. Yeah. He's one shy.
He might get inducted into the Hall of Fame while he's still playing.
Hey,
I think
like Tom Brady. Just give him the jacket.
Marshawn didn't get in, right? Just he didn't get in this year, right? Marshawn.
I think he's upcoming up this next season. I think he'll be up to
he was up. I think he was up. I think it was like however that works.
Yeah.
Eligible.
I think he's eligible. Yeah.
I don't think he made it through.
Okay. Fantastic.
You know, guys like that is kind of tough. You know, I mean, he had decent careers for a couple of teams. I don't know. Do you think he's a Hall of Famer, Walt?
Hall of Famer in my heart. I mean, because once you start getting down to like the stats and everything else of the running backs that are kind of positioned in there, I mean, it starts becoming a number game in some regard. It's kind of like, your Cam. I think is Cam a Hall of Fame player? Oh, for sure. I mean, because when you look at a Hall of Fame players, there's people that impacted the game like no one else, or within their kind of space and sphere. Obviously, Cam was that player. I mean, he changed the game of football. When he stepped between those white lines. I think Marshawn could be. You argue to say the same thing with him in that capacity. But I mean, you look at a guy like London Fletcher. I mean, he's had 14 consecutive 100-yard tackles, middle linebacker, and he's not even in the Hall of Fame. So there's some guys that have Hall of Fame numbers and careers and just not getting in for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah. I my buddy Jesse Sapolo, 15 years, 4-time Super Bowl champ with the 49ers, and has done for as much for the game after he's played with the Polynesian Bowl, the Polynesian Hall of Fame, and for that whole Polynesian community, what he's done to bring kids from Samoa and those other islands where they have no chance, and to bring them over here and bring them into the game and give them an education. And the amount of Polynesian players in the NFL has skyrocketed, and it's not, he'll never take credit, but he was the catalyst. He was the one that made a difference in the sport, not even when he played, but afterwards. And I think that has to weigh in too sometimes.
Yeah.
So Sherri, any other parting questions or any other observations? Let's do this. What's your prediction for the game this Sunday? This is a big game.
Oh, we're gonna win.
Okay.
I always believe, and we are often a fourth quarter. Fourth quarter team, but
yeah,
I believe in us. I always have. I feel like we definitely have the capacity to win. You hear the cliche, any given Sunday, but I know when everybody comes together and we have the talent on the team. I don't know I can't speak as much obviously about the coaching, but I truly believe we have the talent. I think we have the hunger that Uchenna was speaking about, and I think we're going to win.
Yeah. So Walt, I don't know if you saw when I was speaking. I was talking to you, Uchenna, about our defense, and the first half of the season, we're bottom, not the worst, but we're in the 20s.
Trying to
right?
figure it out. Yeah,
Three
trying
or
to
four
figure it
different
out for
categories.
sure.
Now we're single digits, ranking against the run, against all kinds of stuff, and the timing is perfect. I think to Sherri's point, the young kids are figuring it out. They're gelling a little bit. If we could just get that doggone offensive line, just to give K9 just needs a crease, and that guy is going to be one of the best running backs in the league. I had no doubt about it. You just watch him every down and what he's able to do, and he's making it all happen himself.
Yeah.
So, I know the guys are working hard, but it just takes time. It takes time, and it takes a lot of reps and a lot of game experience to have an offensive line come together. And once that happens, man, watch out. We're gonna be back like what we were back when you were there, and we're gonna be the team to beat again. And Sherri, I do have to make one observation. It was great to listen. Do you know? Oh God. Paul Moyer is.
Paul Moyer. I know the
Paul
name.
Moyer was from the 80s, and he and Walt had a discussion because you said there's never going to be another Legion of Boom, but Paul was saying, well, there was one back in the 80s because they had like 60 turnovers, and he was reading off these numbers. I'm like, how did we not know that? So now everyone's much more statistically minded, and and I like the name because I see this possibly happening with this group coming together defensively and really and being special. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, Sherri, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you
guys so
coming
much.
on. And
Go Hawks.
yeah, and follow us and stay involved and and if you're ever out on the West Coast, because that's where Walt and I are, and Uchenna's right down the street. Uchenna does great things in Carson and building his community with the kids. I know you're involved with kids. As I mentioned, we're doing a huge event with a program called Ambassadors of Compassion, placing 5,000 kids in the SoFi Stadium and putting them through a mental health, emotional resilience program that's offered through Santa Ana College that we developed. And we're looking forward to that. It's January 28th. That's going to be a big event. And so I know Walt will be there, and Walt does all kinds of stuff with kids. And so if you're ever out, you can catch a Rams game, make sure you let us know.
I sure will.
Yeah. And so anyhow,
Seahawks have the Rams in the season.
End of the season.
That's right.
Might be time for a trip out.
That's gonna be a big game. That's gonna be a big game.
Always beautiful weather.
I'm gonna try.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining us. Hey, we'll see you all next week. Go Hawks. We'll see you.
Go Hawks.